Freedom fighter or terrorist. So you can see that by Diana Hollingsworth. My research, my main research, the novel it takes place in Palestine over the course of a night. It is right after World War II and Palestine is under the British occupation. The central character Elisha is an 18-year-old young man going on 19. This is his story and how he traces how he comes to kill a man. And as I read the story, from what he said, he was more so terrified of him. He was more so terrified of Gad because Gad was his boss and he couldn't do anything. Like he didn't have no choice. So whatever Gad said, he had to run with it. Like for example, when Gad told him that you have to kill this man, like you don't have a choice, like you have to kill him, and then give him like no other option, like he had to, and just told him that's what he had to do. It's either that or suffer the consequence. The reason why he had to kill was because there was a war. There was a war, and it was like they was fighting to get the British, and it was like why they was going back and forth was because one of his, one of Gad's, what do you want to call it, his people from the movement, one of his former person of the movement, he got caught and got captured. And so it was like he went on a mission and he failed. So when they caught him and they captured him, he retaliated with one of the British's people and did the same thing. But he told them if they kill his people, he's gonna have to kill their people. And he just retaliated. But it was more so like he was going to do it either way. Terrorists or freedom fighters? Do you know who was who? Where did they come from? Why did they become who they are? That question comes to mind because a lot of people they don't know. Like terrorists, they could just be doing something because somebody else is doing something, or they could be doing it because of what they believe, or because of what they think, or what they feel, or whoever feel they is, whoever their God is, or who their Jehovah is. Like, like Elijah said in the book. My research continued, and I did more so research on the author, and the author his mother and younger sister died. They actually died in the Holocaust, just as though Elijah's, and he was freed from Buchenwald in 1945. And of his relatives, only he and his older sisters, Patrice and Hilda, survived. So it was like he was telling his story, but he was telling it in a different way, in a different matter. So I did my next page is the difference between a terrorist and a freedom fighter. So you can see that. Okay, I'm just gonna read one and one. From what I got from a terrorist, the main thing is the grievances over such issues as persecution, oppression, poverty, discrimination, lack of human rights, and living under military occupation often lead to violence. These group plights are based on ethnic, nationalist, ideological beliefs of a secular or religious nature. That's for terrorists. Now, I went to freedom fighters. Here's their difference. Several people sacrificed their lives for the country. Freedom fighters, including Bakshinde, Mangal, Chandra, and Shekhar. They played a crucial role in country's independence. And hundreds and thousands of them, they left everything. Many sacrificed their life for one common goal: freedom of India from foreign rule. Because the freedom fighters, mainly all of them came from India. Like that's where it started, and then it ended in other places. And they became a freedom fighter, or they could have turned into this as such. For example, they could have came like Elisha. He turned into a terrorist, but he was really a freedom fighter. That's really what he was until he met this man who came into his life and basically told him that things that he could do for his life and what could he do could help him is change his life. It made him think as though, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe it will benefit my life. Which even though it backfired. Okay, I got some quotes from the book. That's my next page. The next slide. Okay, quotes from the book. Okay, the main quote that stood out to me was, "Love, love is this and love is that. Man is born to love. He is only alive when he is in the presence of a woman he loves or should love." Let's see. It was at the beginning of the war. I was 12 years old. My parents was alive, and God still dwelt in our town. I needed to know that there was a such thing as love, and that it brought smiles and joy in its way. Night is purer than day. It is perfect for thinking and loving and dreaming. At night, everything is more intense and more true. The echo of words that have been spoken during the day that takes on a new and deeper meaning. The tragedy of a man that he doesn't know how to distinguish between day and night. He says things that he should only be said by day. After that, I went and did some more research, and I found people that were actually went through it, that were actually freedom fighters, and that actually got to tell their stories. The first person was Zoran Music. In early October 1944, he was arrested by the Nazi German forces because he was in a group of Soviet anti-fascists. The group had hidden transmitter and was connected with IS, which means ISIS. After liberation by Americans in April 1945, Music returned to Ljubljana in early June. There, he was sent to a hospital. A month later, he was subjected to the pressures by the newly established communist regime and moved to Brasilia at the end of July in 1945. It's a little line, hopefully you can see that. Okay. All right, and then I found another person. Her name was Sorna Drew. Okay, I found a lot of interesting facts. She was an African American as well, so I found a lot of interesting facts on this woman. She was an African American and abolitionist and women's rights activist. That's who she was. Truth was born into slavery in Swarrow Kill, Ulster County, New York, but escaped with her infant daughter to freedom in 1826. Abolition in women's rights on June 1st, 1843, Isabella Buford changed her name to Sojourner Truth, devoting her life to the Methodism and abolition of slavery. In 1844, Truth joined the Northampton Association of Education and Industry in Northampton, Massachusetts. Sojourner Truth, born Isabella Bumfree, 1797 to November 26, 1883, was an African American woman and women's rights activist best known for her speech on racial inequalities. Ain't I a Woman? Delivering extemporaneously, in 1851 in the Women's Rights Convention. All right, that's the end